Hello, welcome to another episode of our wonderful energy reading for this week. And so, these are totally inspired by the divine and the timing that it does. It was a due time for me to do a reading because I haven't done one. It's been Mercury Retrograde, so we're kind of like, recalibrating and redoing things. And so some of the messages here are really because we are in a time of not knowing. And so, on Sunday it was like Pagua, it's the return of Ram. It's also like the return of the sun, coming back into Aries as the beginning of the zodiac year begins. And it's the first day of spring where life comes into form. And so you can see, really, in all consciousness, we are below the surface where it's still dark. So for sure, if you find that you may not know where the next step is, you're definitely with the rest of like what humanity is probably feeling at the same time. And so you're in the right place at the right time. And so these messages are geared towards what we should know when we don't know what to know. Hopefully, as you well know, that these cards are pre-shuffled with the thoughts of like what we should know in this wonderful time. And yes, they are done through my energy, but I truly believe that we're in a school of life and that, we have the same experiences, and maybe we don't have the same stories. We can definitely relate and to sort of like really have something knowledgeable. So today I started with the spirit owl, and I thought that was amazing because it really had to do with the recalibration to a higher self and letting go of maybe a way or a place or a thing, because that really isn't taking us to the highest place, and to that an answer is on its way and it's coming through your consciousness. And that probably is true because in Mercury retrograde and the 20th, it really begins to go direct. But now, in this time, the truth about where it's going to go next is revealing itself. And this is where you should really find a quiet time, like a wonderful owl, to position yourself to receive that intuition part. Spirit owl of 852 hertz. Recalibration to a higher order of divine purpose is in progress. It's not always a smooth ride, but it's safe to be fearless as you gently hold space for new ways of thinking, living, and seeing to emerge. You are encouraged to let go of opinions and belief systems that cannot support your higher frequency states. You shall recognize a truth that through confusion and frees you to proceed with love, peace, and higher understanding. Love it. Here is a message from the Spirit of Isis, and it talks about our own journey here into this evolution that we're actually coming into this new space that Saturn and Neptune has just like rebirthed all of humanity into creating. And now the Spirit of Isis, which is the generation of us humans, that's really where it comes from. That's Genesis, generation Isis. And Spirit of Isis, triumph of the goddess. Beloved initiate, there are times to surrender and let go, but there are never times to give up. Persist with your bold faith and inspired action until the impossible happens. Isis has a spirit of triumph that will never fail in her quest, no matter how bold or impossible it seems. Believe. Wow, love that. Yeah, it's okay to not have it all figured out, like I just said. So all the messages all come into like where we are here. So we're really divinely. Also, 7474 had been appearing a lot as the angel number. I took a little screenshot of it and have the message in there before. It has some really, really nice things to say about believing and to having your faith still intact and in place, that don't despair. So we're getting on to our first reading of the day, and the first card is talking about we're in the midst of a big transformation. So yes, there's something brand new popping out. It's not like any other year in your life. It's not like any other time that you've lived and walk on this planet. You're going to come through, and this 2026 is going to birth a brand new. So it hasn't began yet, but it will. It would happen after some long withdrawal. So yeah, this is more of quietness. So if you've been experiencing a quietness in yourself, this is why. And suddenly there's some action. So yeah, it says triumph, doesn't it? And what does this say? Triumph. We're victorious in something. And it's coming through on how do we end the story here? What does the oracle say? A Two of Cups. This is a spiritual union, a soul union. This is coming out with great news. And it's going to come as a surprise, baby. It's going to come out of nowhere. So, yeah. That's what happens after transformation, right? This woman looks like she's a butterfly here in the back. Just remember that the caterpillar going in isn't what pops out of that little sack later on. What does the other story tell us here? Yeah, we're back to the butterfly again. That this transformation is definitely going on. And you are in the midst of the quietness during this time. And what are we waiting for, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said, what's this? This can only mean one thing, right? That when the sun positions itself over into spring, because that's all this thing is waiting for. Everything is there. This is waiting for spring to happen. All the tools are there. This is Eight of Pentacles. Going forward, right under Eight of Cups, which is withdrawal. So you see, there's a stark opposite reaction that's about to happen next in life. And we have another Two of Cups here. So you can see how the story really goes on in this thing. I mean, you can't make this up. Remember, these are like decks, and they're already telling the same story already. What do you have? 10 of Cups. What's that? The most amount of happiness you could really perceive and ever want in yourself. Like they said, triumph of the goddess here. Holy, love this. What do we have here? Back to wonderful choices, the Seven of Cups. So far, wow. Fantastic. Let's find out here what this transformation is, because we know we're waiting for the sun to come down. But what's over here? Yeah. Something out of the ordinary. A complete switch. Something a little quiet. What's at the heart of the reading here? A Six of Swords. Moving away from the bad times. Moving away. What do we hear? Two of Pentacles. Back to making choices. And here we have a Five of Pentacles. yeah, we're gonna have to leave some things behind here in order, and that's what this transformation is about here. It's about leaving behind things, making choices, leaving things behind, and making this move. You know, like I said, the caterpillar doesn't come out looking like the caterpillar. It comes out as something else. And that's what changes the game of the life of that thing, because now it can fly. And then what do we have under this triumph? We see under this triumph that there's a Two of Cups and moving away. And then we see a Ten of Swords. So we see that someone's coming to help this person out of some destruction. And then we have the Tower. Like we have the Tower over here. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's out of nowhere. And we finish with the Lovers. Wow. That's at the bottom of this thing. And we come out with some strength. So far, staying strong. Staying in your beliefs is going to be everything you need as you are in this little pupa state of the butterfly. You're just waiting for the time to show up. And it is, because the world has changed. Two of Cups twice. And they have to do with people looking at each other in this way. What a beautiful reading. Have a nice day.